Good afternoon and welcome to On the Daily Cast. I'm your host, Isaiah Farrell. And as you can see here, welcome to our new digs. And welcome to the On the Daily Studio, which today we've just got some breaking news about President Biden. They found no reason for criminal charges in some of those classified document scandals. That, of course, if you remember, if you can go back to about 2 years ago, excuse me, if you could go back to about 2 years ago, you remember that there were documents that the president had concealed in another location, and that they did do an investigation and talking about that. And so right now, that's what everyone is talking about at this moment. This is just breaking news coming in. However, I'm going to deviate from the news that we're covering, or that is being covered. I'm going to deviate from that, and I am going to go into a little bit about what we're doing and talk about some of that. So hopefully everybody is having a great Thursday. It's Thursday afternoon. Everyone, hopefully you're most people are almost headed home in about an hour or a few hours from now. So hopefully everyone is having and staying safe. Meanwhile, it is about 60 degrees out here. I mean, this is crazy weather. Actually, I've never experienced it to be 60 degrees in February. Not here in the city. Not here in the city. But I am so grateful for warm weather. Actually, I kind of do miss the snow. I miss the snow and the ice. It's not fun to drive in, but it's pretty to look at. So I really do miss that. Okay, now I've taken off the glasses. No, I'm just kidding. I'm putting back on the glasses. Barely. I can't see anything. So today we were talking on, if you've been listening to On the Daily Podcast, this is On the Daily Cast on YouTube, and On the Daily Podcast on Spotify, which I'll get into that. Of course, there's an important announcement that I'll get to about that. But if you have been listening to On the Daily Podcast, we've been talking on love in the new generation, love in today's time. We've been talking on the All-Star Game, which I will be covering. I know there were some questions about will I be covering that. I will be covering the All-Star Game. I will also be covering Valentine's Day, which is less than a week away. I will be covering most of the... I'll be talking about a little bit about that coming up. I'll be as we talked about the All-Star Game. And relationships in the new generation. As it says here, relationships. I can't put that on there, actually. So, as we've been talking, or as I've been talking, relationships are very complex. It's very complex. And, well, it all depends on how you think about it. And relationships just are very, very, very tender. And as you start to listen and start to gather the information, and you want to start your own relationship, I want you to listen to the podcast, because I've been talking on relationship, not just advice, but giving pointers, giving issues that I believe that can be solved, or issues that I've seen, I've heard. How is social media affecting new relationships in today's era? I mean, there was once upon a time, and I say once upon a time, about 20 years ago, I'm not showing my age, where relationships were basically based on how many people that you meet and where you met them. And if you went all the way, by going all the way, you would get the number, as we call, write them digits. Okay, I'm not going to say that because that makes me sound so 2000s, which I am proud to be a 2000s baby. Very proud. I was also talking on ways to help couples, or if you're single, talking on what to look for if you're looking at a relationship. What signs? There's a lot of things that go into dating. Now, we've heard of the phrase casual dating. Casual dating is really classified as dating multiple date. Well, it's classified differently than what the actual definition is. So I'll give you what it's classified as. Casual dating is multiple dates. Is classified as multiple dates and much more kind of just dating for just dating to meet people, basically. Dating, and it's really, and this is kind of going into the definition of what casual dating actually is. So casual dating is going into relationships, dating different people at different times, and also dating among the community, and just seeing who's out there, what do you have in common, which is in today's time, we see that people are moving more from casual dating to dating to marry, or casual dating / dating for fun. Which casual dating in 2 decades ago was, in fact, I want to say was it's a way of the different generation, which in today's generation, we're kind of seeing much more of wanting to settle down, wanting to kind of not having to have, multiple dates and multiple relationships, not being, we're seeing more people wanting to be in serious relationships or not in relationships at all. Because of, in today's time, which in today's generation, Gen Zers, which is the generation that is follows the millennials, which from 1998 to 2008, 2010. I'm sorry, 2010, which I should know because I am a Gen Zer. But most of my family millennials, or most people I hang out with are, some people are millennials, and there's different debates about dating from the millennial generation to dating in Gen Z, which Gen Z sees dating as much more of a Hallmark thing, rather. And not to say that it's a Hallmark movie, but I mean, a lot of times we emphasize. Sorry, I'm scratching my nose too much. It's my allergies. Okay. A lot of times we see Gen Z emphasize on dating to marry. So what is dating to marry? Dating to marry is kind of, or I won't say kind of, dating to marry is a way, it's dating, but seeing that the person that you're dating will eventually become your one's wife or husband. But we emphasize now on dating to marry, which that should always be the goal. You should always want marriage to be your end game. You shouldn't want to always. I mean, it's. I don't want to sound like I'm lecturing, so I won't say you shouldn't want to, or you should or shouldn't, because at the end of the day, it's your life. Do as you please. Do what you see best fit for yourself. But dating to marry is a time or a place where, you know, we emphasize it much more now than casual dating. Which, in a way, casual dating is still the way to go. And I'm not here to persuade you, I'm just here to give you the facts, and you can do what you will with them. Dating in today's generation is seeing a lot of complications. One, the Hallmark type family is becoming a distant, more and more distant memory. The nuclear family, rather, the white picket fence and the husband, the wife, the kids, and the dog is becoming kind of what Americans had always seen was the great American dream, which now we're kind of deviating from that and kind of deviating now to fit what our modern times now that we have moved from generation to different generation as we continue to evolve as a nation and as a people. So it's really the best dating tips I've heard before. I've researched this is dating without any expectations. And I emphasize what does dating without any expectations look like? Dating without any expectations just means that you're dating without the hopes of, a lot of times what we do is we will fantasize what is the perfect date. What is the perfect date for, us, for me? And we will fantasize about what this person is supposed to do and not do. And that sets us up for a false expectation. One, because no one is going to ever match up to our dream fantasy. Why? Because this is all created in our heads. It's created through a series of what we think is our perspective. And so, it's our perspective because it's our mind. Our mind is going to conjugate another world where the relationship is supposed to go. So I say date with no expectations, but date with, so dating with no expectations. So don't expect person A to be a certain type of way, and because they don't add up, you're done with them. And then accept people's differences. Accept people are different because of where they come from. A lot of times we always look for people for commonism, which is what do we have most in common with that person? While it is great to have a good common interest, you don't want to always emphasize on common interest because because as science will tell you, obviously, that likes repel and opposites attract. Sorry, I kind of got tongue twisted there. It's like the magnetic force in science class, in physics. Physics term. Likes repel, opposites attract. So if likes repel and we have opposites attracting, we are always wanting to look for common interests. And I've did lots of interviews and I've talked to people. I've talked to close friends, close families, close coworkers about this. If you decide to date, accept the next person's differences. You should want them to be different from you because that invites you to see a different perspective. A lot of times, and we don't really understand this, and really dating in the young generation, as a kid, we were always our mind kind of went where people were most like us. We have friends that are more like us. We date with people that has kind of our same interests, but it's not really healthy to do that. Because at some point in time, it becomes tiresome because you're only getting to see one perspective. You want yourself to see another perspective or a different lifestyle. A different lifestyle means like maybe this person is enthralled with sports. You don't like sports. So, how do you see common interest in that? Well, you invite your mind to see sports. Now, maybe you don't love sports as much as this person does, but you are able to uh, just dive into sports because uh, this person. So what I'm saying here is, if this person, so you don't like sports, but this person does. You don't want to submerge yourself into it just because that person likes it, or you think that that person may not like you because you don't like sports. But you want to say, front off, that you don't have to be mean about it or like, I don't like sports. But you have to say that I've never really seen a lot of sports, so tell me much more, or get interested. Get interested into that person's interest, because if that person gets interested in your interest, you'll see that your interest and that person's interest will come together and bond and make one, and you will also, and you, as time goes on, you will start to get interested in a different, and it will keep circulating and circulating and circulating. So you want to make sure that you date someone with, now they don't have to have total opposite personalities, but you want to make sure that they're not the same person. You're not dating you. And date with a clear mind, a clear head based off that individual. You always want to make sure that when you're dating, you want to make sure that you're dating with a clear head and a clear mind. What does that mean? A clear head and a clear mind will keep you interested in dating. You always want to find out what the next person is like. You always want to find out what the next person is like. Until you actually finally meet the person that is much more, that captures your interests, you always want to make sure you're dating with a clear head and a clear mind. What does that mean? A clear mind says that you're dating based on what that person has said to you. Only what that person has said to you. Only what that person has told you. Only what that person you've seen by that person. Only that individual. Sometimes, and a lot of times, we will date and we will kind of put everyone in a box. Well, he's just like this one, or she's just like this one, or she's just like him, or we will start to put that person into the box of many. And in this world, everyone has their own personality. You want to make sure that you're having a clear head and a clear mind, and you're actually seeing this person as an individual and not just another person on which you're dating. When dating in a young generation, or in my generation, Gen Z, which we have just come of age, in the last 5 to 6 years, we've now progressed most of us have progressed between high school and high school to now college age, and we're now in our 20s. And in our 20s, and a person is in your 20s is going to always want to date a lot more than a person that in your teens. And it's going to look a lot different. Basically, because you don't have school to kind of school is no longer a competition for who likes whom or anything. So even though you're in college is much more self-propelled. It's you make your own decisions as you're coming up in college age. So you also want to make sure that when dating, you are seeing everyone differently than the last person that you dated. And you want to make sure, as a young person, that not everyone is going to have the same common interests that you do. And that is okay. That is what you want. It may not seem like it at first because to be honest, people don't really talk to people that much anymore. And when we do, we kind of only like to be in the same environment. We don't really like to change our environments that much. We like to stay in the same area. And once we do that, we are destined to go down basically dating ourselves, and it leads to unhappiness. If you're dating a reflection of yourself, you don't want that. Because trust me, in the long run, it will start to flare holes and problems, because you'll start to dislike that person, because it's a reflection of yourself. And as everyone has seen, that reflection of ourselves will it's like a carbon copy image. So dating a different person with a different with different interests on you allows you to expand your interests and expand your mind, because you're seeing a different perspective of a different lifestyle, and it will always continue to get interesting, because you've never thought about that perspective, or you've never seen that type of lifestyle before. And you're kind of uh, so on the first date, make sure that you continue to just have an open mind, a clear mind. You want to push away the negative thoughts. I know it's very easier said than done, but you want to make sure that you're pushing away those thoughts and those negative thoughts. But you want to have a clear head, a clear mind, and you want to make sure that uh, no expectations. You don't want to have expectations, because that puts too much pressure on that person to get it right. Plus, that person is probably already thinking that you have high expectations, just because, that's the nature of how we are as human beings. Let's be honest. We've all done it. Now, finally, in a relationship, you have given this person the chance, or you've decided that this person is someone that you want to continue dating, and and you want to actively start an active relationship. So you've gotten to that point. Now you want to make sure that everything you want to keep open, like how when you were dating, when you were dating freely. You want to make sure that you're still keeping an open head and open clear mind on that person. You don't want to make assumptions about someone, because assumptions will make will cast doubts and overthinking, and you don't want overthinking about a person, because once you have overthinking, you will go down a dark road where you are assuming what this person is doing and where this person has been. You always want to have an open set of trust, a big pot of trust. Now, I know what you're saying. How do you know who to trust and who not to trust? A person will always show their true colors eventually, but that doesn't mean that you have to be a that doesn't mean that you have to be a disbelief in relationships, or believing that your relationship is just going to go bad based on past relationships. You always want to keep a clear head and a clear mind about each relationship. When you open it and close the relationship. If you close the relationship, you always want to make sure you have a clear head, and make sure that you've said everything. Don't be afraid to talk to your significant other, because that's how you keep the assumptions and overthinking at bay, because you are keeping a clear head and a clear mind about who you're dating and what you're talking about. So there are a lot of things to open up about when you're dating, especially as a young person, especially in your 20s, and especially if you're in college. There's a lot of things to talk about dating. And you also, there are things about actually keeping an open schedule about dating. In today's time especially, we see dating and we have a big schedule, and we wonder how is it going to fit into our life. Because classes, uh, we have classes, and we have jobs. We have uh, how do you fit that into our schedule? But you want to make time. You want to make time where there is no time. You want to make sure that you fit that in time. You want to not just push it to the side, because in all in all, dating can be fun and a real experience, but you don't want to make pre-assumptions, or if you keep pre-assumptions and overthinking and expectations at bay, dating will become more and more interesting as you keep going on. So, this is on the Daily Cast today, and I was just kind of doing an overview of what I've been talking about. But I do want to mention that, and I know time is running very short, that on coming this June, Spotify has decided to discontinue all creator Spotify for podcasters. They have decided to discontinue Spotify for podcasters, which is the app which all podcasts are created from, including On the Daily. On the Daily podcast, it has been running for over 2 years now. It started in September 2022, and it has continued for the past 2 years uninterrupted. Right now, we are on our season 24, which is season 2024, which is our 4th season of making episodes, and hopefully you've been listening. But in June of 2024, On the Daily Podcast will be coming to an end. However, I am in talks with moving over to Apple Podcasts and Apple playlists, so that you can continue to be listening to our podcast, or this podcast. And YouTube, right here where I'm talking on, will become a major hub of places to talk. This will become a major and integral part. Right now, it has served as a minor role, but as soon and it will start to become a major role as we get closer and closer to the end date of On the Daily Podcast. But Spotify has assured that all episodes of On the Daily with Isaiah Farrell will still be able to play. With that being said, I hope everyone is, under the sound of my voice, is not getting too worked up about this. It's hard hitting news, and Spotify has kind of become my major hub for talking and getting to know new people and everyone that's out there. I continue to love all my followers and subscribers, whether you're on YouTube or any other social media platform. But I want to make sure that you keep an open head and an open mind, and please pray that we can keep this On the Daily from becoming extinct. But you will be able to. The good news is, out of all of this news, and I've just learned this morning, you're going to be able to still listen to already taped podcasts that have aired before, but there will be no new podcast, because the Spotify platform has decided to end Spotify for podcasters. So, with that being said, hopefully everyone is having a great Thursday afternoon, and I will see you in the upcoming future. Good day, everybody.